about to make the most self-indulgent video that you have ever seen. So I ordered myself a birthday present. This is from Blue Pine Arts. It's a handmade paint from India, actually. So I kept a little stamp. I don't know if you can see that, but we'll stick that in my sketchbook later. But it came so beautifully packaged, and if you know anything about me, I am a sucker for packaging. So we're going to document all the packaging, and I'm going to unbox this with you, which sounds so cringy, but here we are. And then we're going to create something with it. Now obviously I know what I bought, so we're going to paint something with it afterwards. So it came in this really nice like drawstring bag. Obviously it was in a shipping bag, but I took that off to make this easier. And I've got a couple of things in here. So we've got the little silica gel. These are the paints, I'm assuming. Got a Blue Pine Arts sticker. Some masala chai. Looks like 2 pieces of watercolor paper. And some information on them. How to care for the paints. Wonderful handwritten note. Oh, looks like we've got samples. So I guess I will do my best to open these up real fast. Butterfly Pea Ultramarine. And oh, there are 3 of them. Looks like Nutmeg Raw Sienna. And 1 more to struggle with. Okay. And Dark Clone Hematite. I'll try those out. I got myself a travel sketchbook sized sketchbook. I think this is what they call their tiny sketchbook. Oh, and it's stamped. That's so fun. So this is covered with an Indian sari, which is red. Red is my favorite color, by the way. And then, now I did go ahead and break the tape on this, so you didn't have to watch me struggle with that. It comes in this wrapping. So take that off. And here is a little tin of paints. Now what I got is the Gilded Greens set. So I paint with a lot of landscapes and a lot of greens, so I thought this would be a lot of fun. And now we're going to unwrap all of these guys, but look at how cute they are in the little tin. Let's see if I can focus. I'm still not good at this. Bear with me. Here we go. So it's Gilded Greens. This is part of their like goddess section. So they had a Gilded Reds and a Gilded Greens, and I chose greens. So let's unwrap them. Okay, so I've taken them all out of the pan, and we're just gonna get to unwrapping. I have recently fallen in love with ultramarine, so really excited about that. We're just gonna drag it down a little bit. So I've got a good swatch. I do love swatches, by the way. I think they're fantastic. So we've got Imperial Jade. This one's made out of PG7 and PR101. I feel like pigment numbers are something I should care about. And that sound like they would be super fun. But I don't. I don't know if that'll change. But I do know some of the like major pigment numbers, but that's about it. I like that it's kind of granulating. That'll be fun. Okay. And then we're gonna do forest green. So this is PG7 and PGK7. It's nice and dark. These re-wet super easily. I'm really happy with that. And oh, that's gonna be pretty green. If you're unaware, my current favorite green is Boreal by Beam Paints, and it is like a dark, granulating kind of green, and that's very similar. I'd love to try and use them together. Okay, the next one is Nebula Green. This is PG7 and PBR7. I feel like that's a really good spruce kind of green. I'm much more, I lean kind of toward these like yellowy, olivey greens, but can always use some bluer greens too. Okay, this next one is Mango Leaf Green, PG7 and PR101. It's got good opacity too. It's kind of interesting. Kind of like a traditional Kelly green almost. And then we're gonna do Deodar Green, PG7. I think that's like a phthalo kind of color, if I remember correctly. Again, maybe a Viridian? I don't know. Correct me in the comments. I'm not gonna look it up. Not that anybody's gonna listen to this bar. But here we go. See, these are the kind of greens that I really struggle with finding a use for. So I guess we'll challenge ourselves to try and use them. Okay, so we're gonna move down to our second line. I have set these up so that they kind of mimic the order that I have them set up in the pan. Just with our sample cards going down. So this one's Nutmeg Raw Sienna. So that's the lighter brown here. It's like a yellow ochre kind of color. Can never have too many yellow ochre kind of colors. They're not the most interesting colors, but man are they useful. Okay, so back to green. We've got Fern Green, which is again PG7, but then PR101. Ooh, look at that. Okay. Right now the forest green is still my favorite, but that's a good one. Also got a good opacity to it. Ooh. Sorry, distracted. This is Patty Green, and it's got a little bit of a gold flake to it, which is really exciting. I don't know if that's gonna pick up on camera, but it's got a little bit of a kind of gold to it. So this is PY74 and PP29. Let's see if I can get that to pick up actually. Someday I'm gonna feel. I don't think you can see. We'll go back. We'll swatch some more greens. Okay, next green is moss green. I'm really excited for this color, so I'm hoping it turns out pretty. It's got a good kind of springy green vibe to it. Love that. And then the last green here is sap green. So this is PG7 and PY83. And they re-wet so easily. Look at that. Okay. And then before we get into the golds, we've got the dark clone Himalayan, which is our darker brown up here. It's actually pretty brown. I don't have very many browns. I mix mine most of the time. And the granulation. The granulation is part of the reason I love handmade paints. Because you get more of that just because it's harder to mull a lot of these pigments. Fascinating. Really is. Okay, so we've got some golds. So there are 4 of them here. And they're actually all very different, which I guess I expected, but I'm a little bit more shocked than you would think. So Gilded Leaf is kind of like a greenish gold, which fits very nicely in with the set, I believe that. And I think it'll make like a great like natural gold almost. Sun Spear is next, and it's your traditional yellow gold kind of color. Oh, so nice. The metallics do take a little bit more water, but that's kind of expected when you paint with metallics. So definitely a heavier coverage, definitely more of a yellow green. Disperses pretty nicely in the water though. And then we've got Rich Gold, which looks much darker in the pan. Ooh, look at that. It's kind of like a brown gold. I'm gonna have to find new ways to describe gold if we're gonna do this. You know, I ended one of my recent videos with "You shouldn't take yourself so seriously," and I feel like that is a very, like, pertinent way to view this. I have no idea what I'm doing. Like I said, this is a very self-indulgent video. And the last one here is Cooper's Gold, and this is a much more lighter gold. It's not as harsh of a yellow. It's not like a white gold, obviously, but it's a much lighter kind of dusting of gold, if that makes sense. Goodness. Someday. Someday. It looks like I can make them opaque. I'm just bad at it. So let's try. So that it's pretty opaque. It's decent. And then when I first put down this Rich Gold, it was very opaque, so I don't know. It's kind of got like a brownish undertone. Like almost like that dark clone Himalaya is behind it. Really cool. Okay, so Okay, it's been a couple days and I realized how out of focus that was, or at least down at the bottom, so I wanted to show you all of the swatches a little bit closer up. So you can see that the forest green is still my favorite. It's got a much darker tone to it, but you can see that these colors have a little bit more character to them. And then if I just move this up instead of trying to refocus the camera, this moss green comes out beautifully. It's got like this really luminous kind of color to it. And then you can see the gold's a little bit better here too. And so I've done a little bit of preparation to paint on camera. So I've painted us a little test page here. I want to do some sort of swampy tree. So we've got my swamp tree down here, a little like thumbnail up here. And then if we turn the page real quick, you can see that maybe I should have filmed this one. It got a little out of hand, but this is kind of what we're working with. So here's the thought process, and we're going to paint in the sketchbook. So I already have my tree drawn out, and we will get to painting that shortly. While we're here though, the main idea behind this was or the inspiration I guess, is a book that I've been reading. So this is The Beast of Old by Hannah Kate Stallo. It's the second book in a series, and it's consumed my whole life. So as you can see, the cover kind of goes with that. It's set in New Orleans. This is in progress, don't worry about that. But that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on. And while we're here, you can see a couple of these little characters are actually characters from the book. So I told you this was an indulgent video, and I meant it. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Beasts of Old while we paint our tree. Okay, are you finally ready to paint some trees? I am. So, a little bit about the process before we get too far. I did really enjoy the paper. It soaks up a lot of water. It's, really held its own. I had some trouble keeping the darks, but I find that I have that same issue on like Fabriano paper or anything else. So I think this is a handmade cotton rag paper. It's beautiful. I love it. I do want to do some more things in it. Obviously this is the first thing I've ever painted on this paper, so it took me a minute to get used to. However, I really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to put more into the sketchbook. The paints themselves are fantastic. So they re-wet wonderfully. You don't have any issues getting the colors off of them. I think even though all of these are greens, there's a wide enough variety that it doesn't feel like you're painting with a bunch of the same colors, which is kind of what I was afraid of. But I really liked the selection. I wish one of them was just a hair darker than it is. So as we go through here, I've actually added just a hint of Payne's Gray into the darkest areas. I've mixed it in with the forest green, but that would be my one gripe with this particular set. It was a limited time set, so I know you can build very similar sets, and I would honestly encourage you to. The paints are wonderful. Again, the paper's fantastic, and I just had a fantastic time. It's really sparked some inspiration, really for the first time in months, maybe a year. That's just, it's something new and different, and I'm just so excited about it. So the tree that this is based off of is actually one that I have a photo of from Blue Springs State Park in Florida, with the Spanish moss hanging off of it, kind of hanging over the river. I'm a big proponent of using the things that you see and taking pictures of the things that inspire you. Trees are one of those things for me. I could draw trees all day long, especially if I get to do them like this. So, and that's where it comes from. I think it's an oak tree. I could be wrong though. The ones in my sketchbook that I showed you before are both cypress trees. Yeah, that was the original goal for this, but I just didn't feel like there was enough space on the landscape orientation of this. Business out of the way, and now we're going to talk about the Mystic Crescent series. So this is The Deep Dark River and The Beasts of Old, which are a duology from Hannah Kate Stallo. They're set in New Orleans. It's like a fantasy New Orleans setting that's got tons of Louisiana folklore like in it, and there are a couple things that I love. One, liminal space. I travel through liminal space. I travel for work, so like I'm always in a place that doesn't seem real, like real. So one, liminal space. Two, folklore. Three, the folklore of the U.S. in general. So I'm a military kid, and I'm just fascinated with the ways that different people from different areas of the country see themselves in the world around them. And fantasy. Just fantasy books in general. If it's got a dragon, if it's got, you know, like knights, or if it has anything to do with the ring fair, or things like that. Magic, especially elemental kind of magics, really into all of that. So there's your baseline of where we're about to start. By the way, I re-recorded this next bit like 5 times because I kept getting spoilers. So, go read the book. The next section doesn't have any spoilers, but we're gonna talk about the Mystic Crescent series. Thanks. If it sounds awkward, it's because I don't remember what I said the first 5 times. So let's talk overarching themes. So we've got the Deep Dark River, which is the first one, and it is absolutely naming the challenges in your life and looking at them in an objective way and finding power in them. So yes, it's a fantasy setting, but there is more reality in these books than I have ever found in a book series. So we've got book 1, which is very like, you know, this is how the world's treated me, this is how that's shaped me in moving forward. And then we have book 2, which is healing, and essentially taking all of that named substance and healing from it. And I mean, you talk about something that hits you so hard, because there's 4 main characters, and you've got 2 river princes and some guy from Indiana and like a British witch. Okay, those are your 4 characters, and you take all of these people who are so uniquely flawed in like the most realistic ways, and have them not only realize the flaw and be angry about it and justifiably angry about it, but then you get to this point where they are healing from that. And there was a lot that got to me, but the biggest thing was just the way that they cared for one another is what drove their relationships forward, and got to this point of healing. And I have never spent so much time just thinking about these characters and the relationships between them. Yes, the setting, fantastic. Yes, the concepts, fantastic. The character relationships and the reality in just how they deal with everything is beyond me. You should read it. Know that she is a indie author. I got my husband to start reading the first one, and he's not reading it fast enough for me, because I just need somebody to talk to about it so badly. And you know, there are a couple things where you go, okay, well, the pacing's not like the best at the very beginning, but it gets there. And book 2, The Beasts of Old, is just hands down the best thing I've ever read. It hit in all the right places. It tugs on all heartstrings. And if I could have more comedic humor with my healing in life, I think it would do me good. Also, the more of the alligator prints that exists, the better. I love them all, but Halada, the alligator prince, is my favorite. And you should get to the point where you have an opinion on it, and you should tell me in the comments below who's your favorite character in the Crescent series. Also, you should follow me on Threads, which I don't say very often, but I've decided to dump all of my fan art on Threads because I don't know what else to do with it. So if you want to read the book and you want to talk to me about the books and you want to see my fan art of the characters in the books, Threads. I don't know what to do on Threads. I was never on Twitter, but somehow here I am on Threads and I don't know what to do with myself. So we're going to jump back into the art for just a second. We are now going to put the gold on this piece. So you can see that it's not really, I don't feel like it's as finished as I want it to be before I put the gold on here. But this is kind of how it worked out. I did use the rich gold, which is that like brown tinted gold. I found that when I was painting in my sketchbook, this was my favorite to put like the gold string, I guess, through the painting. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to go back with Cooper's gold, which is that like the one that kind of separates out a bit more. And we're going to put that on the Spanish moss and to make some details in the tree itself. And I think it polishes it up to a point. It's not to the point that I would normally bring a painting to, but I actually like the way it turns out. So that's what we're going to do, and then I'm going to take the rich gold one more time, and I'm going to put some dots around, because I like circles. I don't have anything better to tell you than that. You know, the gold surprises me so much because I've never really been a gold person, not in jewelry, not in anything else. So the fact that this has really captured my inspiration and like my joy lately has been fascinating. Like the last handful of things I've done have had some sort of gold in them, which if you had told a younger version of me that, there's no way I would have believed you. So I find it really fascinating, just the way that the things that interest me change, and even the colors, I guess, that interest me change over time. If you've ever experienced something like that, that would be something else that I'd be really curious to know about. So just a couple things to wrap everything up. 1, follow Hannah Kate Stallo. Go find her books, the Messy Crescent series, all linked below. But also follow her on TikTok and Instagram at the local cryptid. She's hilarious, just outside of her books as well. So I highly suggest that. All the links will be down below. Also, while you're at it, like, subscribe here. Go find me on Instagram if you didn't come from Instagram, and even go follow me on Threads so we can talk about the Mystic Crescent series some more. It is my birthday after all, so you should. And we finally reached the final painting. So thank you guys for joining me. I hope you really enjoyed it. I tried to capture the glistening of the gold here at the end, and hopefully you enjoy it. Thanks for indulging me in this ridiculous video. If you painted anything or you drew anything or doing something during the video, let me know in the comments what it was. And if you are drawing and you post things on Instagram, tag me in your Instagram post. I'd love to see it.